Hello and welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Captain Kibs, signing on today. And today, we're going to take a look at World War Z. I know, it's weird. We're going to look at a movie game. Who would have thought? Anyways, this game is being published by Paramount, and it's being developed by Saber Interactive. Now, World War Z is a co-op sort of action shooter game that is very, very reminiscent of Left 4 Dead. It's going to feature tons and tons of zombies on screen. It's got swarm mechanics that look pretty cool, like as in zombies will be fumbling over each other and crawling on top of each other, just like in the World War Z movie where they climbed up the side of friggin' buildings and stuff, which is a little bit ridiculous, but honestly, if it's fun, you know, couldn't hurt too much. The way that actually works looks really interesting. So corpses actually sort of have their own physical weight to them in this universe, or in this game, I should say universe. In real life, they have their weight too. But, as in zombies will actually fumble over each other as the ones in front die. So that makes for a really interesting mechanic, as you can sort of slow down the horde by actually just creating a huge wall of corpses. There's a couple other interesting things, like when they're climbing up the side of buildings, if you target the zombies at the bottom and you take out the base of them, even though they're the thickest there, the zombies will tumble over, sort of like a little tower of Jengas, or... Criminy, you wouldn't think you'd forget in the middle of a video, but hey, I guess I have forgotten what that... Jengo, the game with the blocks. Basically that. They fall over, they tumble over, they look sad, they flop on the ground, and they get back up. Little bit upset about that. Either way, the game seems to have a fair few weapons, and I cannot stress this enough. It gives me that Left 4 Dead vibe. It's gonna, from the trailers, it does look like it's gonna be in a multitude of areas. I saw what appeared to be New York, and what also looked like perhaps either St. Petersburg or Moscow. I'm not 100% certain. So we got Russia and America. Looks like two settings and two different sets of characters, and each party consists of 4 characters. Not sure if each character gets their own unique abilities, or if it's just going to be more like the Left 4 Dead rather than like Deep Rock Galactic. So it definitely has a lot of that Left 4 Dead vibe going to it. I'd imagine hopefully what I'd like to see is a true spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, unlike the misgivings of Vermintide 2. And Deep Rock Galactic is good, but it's not a Left 4 Dead game. It's very different, sort of an RPG-esque style game. Not that it's bad, it's actually really good. But yeah, no, this is an interesting. We haven't seen a good zombie game in a long time, and it's been a while since we had the zombie games due to that zombie game craze that we had a few years back. But another few interesting things that the game's going to boast is adaptive spawning, so sort of like, again, like Left 4 Dead, where the map adjusts and changes certain things, lights being on in certain areas, zombies spawn in certain areas, and then that way each one gives it a little bit of uniqueness. And then for these kinds of games, that is honestly standard. If a game doesn't have that, and they have preset spawn locations, I think that would be horrendous. Because in games like this, the game is designed that you are basically supposed to replay these levels, you know, repeatedly, because you're enjoying the experience or running through them, different missions or objectives or whatever it is you're trying to achieve, be it leveling up or whatever they're going to do to encourage the player to want to replay these levels. I'm not sure if they're going to introduce any sort of like mechanics. The game does seem to be trying to go after the slight realism sort of take to it. You know, as realistic as you can get with zombies piling on top of each other to basically form giant fucking ladders. Sort of like ants, honestly. Now, it's going to be about 4 players co-op. It's going to be on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. PC being obviously the best thing for me, because I am a PC player at heart. It's going to be coming in 2019, so we're going to see this game hopefully sometime next year, and hopefully not rushed, because that would be horrendous. You know how that can be. The game also wanted to make mention of boasting that it does have very good blood and gore, and I think that's actually a good thing to note. In games like this, in games where you have zombies, having a good blood and gore mechanic can set you apart from the rest of the mediocrity. Making the blood, you know, whether there's like blood physics like there was in the early or later Borderlands games, or however they want to do it. They have dynamic approaches based on the gameplay footage that I've seen and I'm presenting to you, where bullets hit certain locations, do certain bits of gore damage to the enemy model, which is rather interesting. Also, the game, from what I've analyzed of the gameplay, it seems to function 2 ways. You've got your standard sort of progress through the level and deal with occasional hordes here and there. You've got unique zombie enemies, which is good because that mixes up the monotony of the enemy types. You do want a variety of enemy types to fight to make the game engaging. And I'm wondering if they're going to go down the whole competitive route. Are we going to see, like, or not competitive, pardon, versus? Are we going to see, you know, players be able to play as zombies? Not too big keen on that being a feature. Wouldn't be the end of the world if they didn't do that, because in this kind of game it's pretty well lit, so there's not a lot of stealth mechanics for a zombie player. But that's no big deal right there. Other than that, though, the game does... It looks promising. The amount of zombies that you have on screen, you know, the sheer amount is pretty good. And again, this is all early footage, and hopefully we'll stay tuned to this, because I want to keep my eye on this. The studio, by the way, their name is Saber Interactive. They are known for working on some titles, such as Mud Runners, The Witcher 3, but they did Wild Hunt, but it was for something to do with 4K. After going through the website, I can't really find out what specifically this company specializes in, but now they're boasting their own game, so this will be interesting. The Halo Master Chief Collection, they'd worked on that. They also worked on Halo Online, Halo CE Anniversary, and they had also worked on, what else? What other notable games? There's a movie game called Battle LA a while ago, and there's an early Xbox game called Time Shift. Not too many big titles under their belts, but it does seem to show that they have some experience. And so this gives me a lot of hope that, you know, we'll see something possibly good come out of this. So we'll have to wait and see if this is going to be their Saber Interactive's heavy hitter to get into the games market. Because a world, I mean, they're backed by Paramount, which is pretty big. And it is a movie game title, so I imagine we'll see a World War Z movie. Not that I'm opposed to it, though, you know, everybody always normally prefers the books over the movies. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was interesting, and I thought I'd bring it to your attention. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next video. So until then, you guys have yourself a glorious day, and we'll see you then.